All right. Well, welcome everybody to another live broadcast from the Russell Ferber Foundation. Here we are again. So welcome to my parents as well. You can say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
We've been working pretty hard for the last few weeks on getting our virtual fundraiser together. We should have our silent auction items up and available to be viewed over the next week. And just today we put up the ticket link on our website. So if you haven't already been to the russellferberfoundation.org website, information for this year's fundraiser is on there, and you can purchase tickets for our virtual online event, which is happening on September 16th. We're going to be live streaming from the Zinc Bar, which is pretty exciting. But as we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, I think that we've been highlighting all the people that help us put this thing together every year, and the people that help figure out where the money goes and how we help everybody. And it's just really, it's usually the three of us on stage and then a handful of my comedian friends. So I feel like it's really great to be able to highlight all the people that really are behind the scenes of what we do. So tonight we're going to be talking with Denise Frazier from the Village Community School, where we hold our event every year and where Russell and I both went to school for the better part of our lives, and Brad Whitmore, who's in the development office at the Culinary Institute of America, who helps make sure that our scholars get all the help that they need when they get onto campus. And he is also a big fan of what we do. He and his partner and all the students all come down from CIA together to come to our event every year. So it's great to have you guys on. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good evening.
Excited to be here.
It's always so heartwarming to us that we don't have to remember by ourselves that we have so much help in doing this, and especially at our ages, there's, even if stuff didn't end up on my permanent record, somebody remembers.
One small plug, Jordan, for the comedy event. You said the tickets are for the event. It is, which of course includes the live stream comedy show.
Yes. That will be, the comedy show will be on the 16th. Tonight, if there are any laughs, it'll probably be at my expense. So
Well, next week this time we're hoping to get the auction up online, which would be really nice.
Yes.
But also we the Russell Ferber Foundation has a gift every year to VCS for the Russell Ferber Memorial Fund. Do you want to say a little bit about what that fund does, Denise?
Well, it's wonderful fun, and it comes from a family that it feels as if I've known forever. I call them boys. I certainly knew the boys for a lot of years. I taught both of them during the course of their time at VCS. And the fund helps children who need extra help in getting over the hump of learning to do whatever they need to do in school, whether it's testing to find out what specifically is blocking them from moving forward, or tutoring, counseling of some kind. So it's really been wonderful, because not everyone can afford tuition and not everyone knows how to go about getting the extra help for their children. And this fund has allowed the school to be very generous in helping children and families move forward. And, it's just been great. Every year we sort of get to anoint a child and use that money and follow their progress. So
I know, and you share that with us every year.
Right. And well, we don't say the name of the child,
Yeah.
but the progress that child is making. And it always has a trajectory up, up, up. And it's always a success story that's exciting to watch and certainly to share. So it's really been great.
Because you watch it and are so careful about it, that it goes up, up, up. I mean,
well,
you designate how to spend that money. I mean, it's a credit to VCS that it does all such positive things.
We get a great reward when we hear the story.
Because
read
for those of you who don't know, Russell started VCS in the 4s program when they still had a 4s and 5s program. and goes until the 8th grade. And in the middle of the 8th grade, we took Russell out of VCS and sent him to Eagle Hill, which was a school for kids with learning differences up in Greenwich, Connecticut, where he lived. You know, he was on campus. He dormed there for a year and a half before he came back to New York City. But where he could be, I always said, an apple among apples instead of an apple among oranges. And it really was a wonderful thing for him, because Russell was far from stupid, but a lot of people would designate him that way simply because of his learning differences. So, and he spent a lot of time in the Learning Center at CIA also. I mean, that was really his home away from home.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll also just say, you know, VCS, Village Community School, really does foster that family feeling at the school. You know, the fact that we both spent so much time there, I think it's one of the only schools that I know of where it's common practice to call the teachers by their first names. There's really a familiarity there, and you know, I'm still really good friends with a lot of the kids that I went to school with there. Even though my class was really small, it was only 16 of us. We stay in touch. You know, my friend Lauren Thomas, who I've known since I'm 4 at VCS, is usually the loudest laugher at our fundraiser, as well as the loudest raffle ticket seller.
In any room she ever laughs in fact.
Right. I taught Lauren also.
And, you know, Harold Garcia, who's always at our event and is also, I mean, so many of our close friends, my close friends are people that I've known since VCS. And I
Right.
think VCS really goes out of their way to foster that kind of feeling, that kind of bond between not just the kids, but, you know, their experience there and with all of the educators, you know, knowing everybody in that building. You know, it's heartwarming for us to come back there every year to do our event there.
You know, you probably don't remember this, but right after when Russell died, and we put a mention of it in the New York Times, we said to make donations in his memory to VCS. That was the first thing that came to our mind. We had no foundation at the time. We
Took a while.
and we were so shattered that, you know, it was anyway. VCS.
Russell was also friends with my son, Mackenzie.
Exactly.
They became friends unbeknownst to me. I don't know how they found each other, but they did.
But you know what?
They-
They had a lot of similarities, Russell and Mac.
They were
That's
each
right.
an apple in an orange grove. Maybe.
Yes,
But they had that
yes.
charm. Mac has that amazing charm that Russell
I was
had.
thinking of walnut.
Okay.
Yeah, both a couple of nuts, I guess, right?
Yeah.
True.
You know, and we always talk, you know,
Hard shell, but
Russell always tried to find ways to learn the hard lessons the easy way. It seemed like, you know. He
Russell
knew
was
how
the
to-
kind of student you didn't know whether to take him and shake him or take him and hug him, because you knew the intelligence was there. We were trying to figure it out, you know, how to get him more grounded, because he was much more interested in talking to you, smoozing you up, and finding a way around the assignment rather than buckling down. And one of the reasons was because it was difficult for him to learn in a traditional sort of way. And also he just enjoyed people.
Yeah.
So he'd much rather spend the time talking to you and holding court rather than doing
Sure.
the lessons.
in adult life, that becomes a valuable skill,
Yes,
not a handicap.
right.
Charming.
Well, that's why I think it's so, you know, kind of interesting that he was so, you know, somewhat all over the place, but very focused on, you know, being around people and talking to people, and then being in the kitchen, which really requires sort of a very laser focus, especially in pastry. That
A
he
real
thrived.
discipline.
Yeah, a real discipline. The fact that he thrived at the Culinary Institute of America in particular, where it's, you know, they're tough. You know, his first day there, he had to drive back down to get the right shoes for the following day. They wouldn't let him into the kitchen with sneakers, and he didn't want to be on his first day, you know, kicked out of class.
We
Right.
actually get a lot of stories of parents that either their child is going down the wrong path, or they just need a little more help or a little more sort of specialized focus and care, that have come to us and said, you know, the CIA has saved my child's life. They were, maybe drug abusers, or they were, going down a much different path, and the CIA sort of set them on the straight and narrow. And the best thing about the classes in the kitchen is that, you're in the classes for a long time, for like sometimes 6 hours straight. You're only in there with 16 people. You have your faculty member that really spends time with each student. And we've just heard some remarkable stories of how, students have succeeded just from their teachings at the CIA.
Well, I love the stories of the students, of our scholars last week who talked about the CIA, and some of them thought it was militaristic. Others,
I heard that, yeah.
but they still, despite that, it was a nurturing military.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
Felt nurtured.
Yeah, we are like the
militaristic,
West
but
Point
in a
of
good
color.
Now, in addition, just for everybody else out there, that in addition to the scholarship that we have at CCAP to the CIA, we have an almost endowed scholarship
Endowed. Mhm.
at the CIA. And I keep saying I'm not sure
Directly.
that will ever happen, because
Right,
every
yeah.
year we donate money, and every time we get close to that mark, they raise what it is to be endowed. So it's partially.
We're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah.
Yeah, keep
but with the stipend also.
And
year.
every year, part of our donation becomes a stipend for a student who needs it in order to finish up their studies. That's basically what that is for. I mean, we remember very clearly that Russell's friend and roommate was unable to come back and complete his studies because of a lack of, not what seemed to us to be a huge amount of money, but that he wasn't able to do it. And this is our way of trying to help other students who might be in that kind of a position.
Yeah, I was lucky enough when I started at CIA 9 years ago, and we have over 400 funds at the CIA scholarship funds. And
Wow.
when I got to meet you all, just sort of changed my perception on what scholarships really do. I know they help students pay for college and relieve some of their debt when they graduate, but what you all created is really a family. I mean, and I really, the scholars that come down and get to meet you, and then you bring them on stage, and then they do graduate, but they stay in touch, and you stay in touch, and you want to.
We try, yes.
We nudge
And I
them.
just think that is so important and so admirable that you guys take the time and do that and spend the time and want to see what they're up to and doing. So I'm just blessed to be part of this and see all the great work that you're doing and just be that connection between the students and the CIA and you all. So I'm happy to be that, foster that relationship.
Well, it's
Yeah,
really like a
I'm-
combination of everything. The fact that Russell was such a mover and a shaker and a connector of people. The fact that we stay in touch with our kids is sort of feeds into that, and the fact that VCS itself, I think, really fostered that. The fact that I'm not my story about being friends with the kids that I went to elementary school with is not unique amongst VCSers. We are a tight-knit bunch. We're it's a very small school considering the fact that it's in New York City. But we keep these bonds together through our lifetime. And I think that there's that combination of having a level of professionalism that VCS prepares you for the rest of, your studies, as well as the need for human interaction and real connection with people. That's why it was hard for Russell to leave when it looked like he wasn't going to be able to get the kind of education he needed. So, more so than the difficulty of having to leave because of academics, but having to leave his friends and having to go somewhere else where he had to make a whole new set of friends was, I think, the most daunting part for him.
But he was well equipped on that end. And I also
Sounds like
think
it.
he was the first, and perhaps, I do believe, the one and only child ever to leave the school and then come back and march with his class during graduation.
Well,
So-
he was also the first CIA graduate who died that was awarded his cordon posthumously. It was he wasn't the first student to die, but he was the first one who they gave a cordon to, and in part that was because of his fellow students, in particular his friend Jesse, Jessica and Vincent Calise, who had been the dean of students and then became Brad's boss for a
I'll also
while.
say this, if, Russell may be the first person that even tried to come back and walk in graduation. I don't know if that's number one. And secondly, I mean, I don't know if you guys tried to stop him, but you would not have probably been able to.
I don't think we tried.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure not.
VCS is a place after 9/11. I remember being told that after 9/11, all of the students all those young people who lived in New York who didn't know where to go, had nowhere to go. Anyone who went to VCS ended up in there.
That is true. Some parents also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A new
Yeah.
safe, loving haven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he
so
was very-
what's happening now? I know that there's a new building that just went up at VCS.
Well, it's not
Process.
completed
It's in the
yet.
process,
It's
yeah.
in the process. Yes. Another gym,
Mhm.
because we always thought physical education
Miss-
is
miss-
so important.
And it's named
So-
after Eve, right?
The building, the wing will be named after Eve. We're increasing the size of our learning center with our learning specialists and reading teachers so that there's more space for the children.
Great.
It's all well thought out, thought up, planned
Yeah.
out space, a maker space where kids can go in and create.
Mhm.
VCS always feels as if they're preparing children for jobs that haven't even been invented yet. So why not let them go in and just have a space to explore, create?
Yeah.
And it's also a space, I think, that sort of levels the playing field, because whether it's in the arts, whether it's gym or science, math, everyone can go in there and create something, make something unique to them.
Right.
And so all that kind of learning takes space. And that's what the new building is going to be about.
Very exciting. And
Very
It
interesting.
is very exciting.
I mentioned before we started recording that I noticed on the VCS Instagram that they just started handing out all of the virtual packets for the virtual learning that the kids are going to be starting out with this year.
Yeah, we asked the teachers, what do the kids need? We started, of course, last year, and that was quite the feat because we created the program over the March break. The children had their break, but the teachers did not. They had
Right.
to create distance learning. So we asked this year, over the summer, everyone worked, professional development, to make sure that we were ready to go. And we asked the teachers to give in a list of all the supplies that kids would need at home to be successful distance learning children.
Right.
And so every teacher gave in a list, and you know how VCS is, very materials heavy. So there were lists like you wouldn't believe. So there were backpacks, there were bins. Everyone got a device, a laptop, a Chromebook,
Wow.
plus art supplies, blocks for math, paper, pencils, whatever they needed. I can't tell you the number
Paper,
of zip.
How do I get one of those? Can I audit?
Everything.
I was
Can I
gonna say the
audit?
same thing. I want one of those backpacks.
Yeah.
It took up the entire auditorium, because you figured 340 kids. So every child had a backpack, chock-a-block full of stuff, a plastic bin, fulls, Ziplocs. It was amazing. And
With hand sanitizers?
yes, and kudos to the teachers who came in and the office people who divvied up the supplies, because it
Yeah.
was all
Well,
age appropriate. The
Right,
first
of course.
graders needed different things than the eighth graders.
Right, of
So it was
Be
quite
careful
the
grading.
feat.
Well, one of the special things at VCS that they won't be able to duplicate is shop. I mean, I love that they had shop from a very, very early age. Every child took shop. And
And
I
I still
remember
got all my fingers.
Sheila, who was the founder of VCS, said
But
that
you did like the glue.
that the reason that shop was so important is that it taught children how to plan. You had to plan how to get things done, or you could cut the piece the wrong way, and then it would, you wouldn't have anything that matched, and you wouldn't have anything that you could work with.
Well, Judy has, of course, had to come up with different ideas for shop. And while they're not using wood, they are using other materials.
Oh, that's
Materials
great.
that either we provided or found materials in their homes.
Oh, I was going to
So
say,
what she did last year, just off the top of her head, was amazing.
I was
The
thinking,
kinds of things that they built,
this feels like
chairs out of paper, little miniature. It was really great.
I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to, work on your whittling. Just get,
Scrimshaw. As long as you get to go for
yeah,
it.
right.
there's
Sure.
sticks everywhere.
They should have a call. They don't have to do a
We
call.
could auction off a scrimshaw session. A
Yeah.
scrimshaw, start up scrimshaw. If you could say it 3 times quickly, you win the prize at no cost, right? You win the auction.
So Brad, let's talk to you for a minute. I know that classes kind of just started up again at CIA.
Yeah, we welcome back. I think there was 500 students that had to complete their spring semester. They came back on August 10th.
500.
And then we pivoted all of the online models for our bachelor's program. Our master's program has always been online. But we were able to figure out when, COVID hit and everything was shut down, how to sort of front load all of our lectures in the AOS program, which is the culinary and the baking pastry programs, online, so they could still learn all of the different techniques and cuisines, and then when they came back to campus to apply all of those techniques that they learned. So that all happened on August 10th, and they just completed their spring semester on Friday. And now they have a couple days off, and we'll welcome back all of our students for the fall semester on Tuesday.
Wow. It's a real big thing because the CIA students really hail from practically every state and many countries. It's not just New Yorkers who are going up to the CIA. So it's.
Yeah, so they all had to come 2 weeks early in quarantine.
Yeah.
Either on campus
Right.
or they had to quarantine somewhere with a relative or a friend. And luckily, the CIA, we already had very strict safety precautions and measures. With food safety, you have to be very strict with those sort of things.
Sure.
So that really helped out, sort of mitigate, COVID exposure. We lowered density on campus. Anybody that could actually work remotely, that's not sort of student facing, could continue to work from home. So we're only about 45% of our faculty and student support, staff and administration that's actually on campus, just to keep the sort of threat of any sort of infection as low as possible. And now our students,
Open yet?
no, they're not open. Probably, we wanted to get everything up and running before we started inviting people to campus.
Okay.
We get almost 300,000 people come to our campus every single year.
For good reason.
Yeah, of course. It's great food. It's the energy. I mean, you all have been there. Denise, you have to come up if you have not been. The energy there is just, it's tangible. You can feel it as soon as you walk in. It's just, there's so many kids that they found their home because they're passionate about culinary or baking and pastry, and they found like-minded people. So you get that all together, and the food and the smells, the energy. It's just a really exciting place to be. So we're gonna
Making me hungry.
Well,
I'm gonna finish.
my office is right above the exhaust fan for American Bounty, so I
Oh.
literally get to smell
Oh,
everything.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I would
my.
say there's calories in the air when you come on campus.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
one last question, I guess,
Exhaust
before we
fan of
finish up
American.
here, and that is, how disappointed are you guys that we haven't been able to have our live event this year and hug each other in person and have some laughs over Grandese pizza?
It's terrible. It's been 9 years since I've been going.
This was going to be our 15th year. The fact that we're doing it online this year, I'm glad that we're doing something, but I know that I often find that other people remind me that it is not just the highlight of our year. A lot of people look forward to that event.
Well, it gives me an opportunity to see all my babies that I taught, And of course, They get old. I do not. But it just is great to see them. And when you see, I mean, I was at the stage where children that I taught were bringing back their children to interview.
I know, isn't that?
School. How is that possible? So
I know.
you know, I look forward to just seeing a lot of the children that have passed through our halls.
And the person we started with at CIA, Gail
Yeah,
Jones, left the CIA for what, 4 or 5 years?
she did. We got her back though. Yeah,
What?
we got her back though.
Yes, they were smart
They got
enough
her
to
back.
hire her back because she was
Nice lady.
terrific, very special people. I mean, we've been blessed with all of the people who have come out, like Jordan said, to help us and to be supportive of us. And maybe it was just Russell's charm and has nothing to do with us, but thank you.
Sure, a lot of Russell's schoolmates came back with their babies, with their children. Actually, girls in particular, of course. I think back, not a couple of guys, but mostly.
I'll tell you this. I hope, I'm pretty sure Russell got a lot of his charm and his chutzpah by seeing where I failed, and just
Listen, when Russell went to West Village Nursery School, before he went to BCS, he was at West Village Nursery School. And I would get parents calling me, "Oh, I'm so-and-so's mother." "Oh, okay. Russell's girlfriend?" And maybe 4 or 5 mothers in the same week would call me to say that their child was Russell's girlfriend.
So Jordan, I just want to know, did you ever finish a homework assignment? Come on, be honest.
If it required
Yes.
handwriting, forget it.
Yeah, my handwriting was no good. Once I got into college and everything had to be typed, I was much better.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
There were the things you remember, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, that's why I always say when we do the live event, when I get to go on stage and tell jokes, I can't believe that I get invited back every year to do the very thing that got me kicked out of class when I was here.
And Russell, I think, while he couldn't always get the answers right, he was very concerned with presentation. So when he put together a project, it always looked great, like a piece of pastry, right? It always looked great, whether or not the answers were correct or the
report may
learning-
have had only 2 facts in it, but it took 4 pages in elegant type on beautiful vellum paper,
Whatever.
beautiful cover.
Presentation was always important to
Yeah.
him.
So we're wide margins.
Yes.
Wide
Yes.
margin, triple space in case you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
So I
say
remember the
beautiful
wide
stuff.
margins in particular. She's absolutely right.
Wide margins.
That's so funny.
Teachers
how-
never saw these tricks, of course.
Yeah,
Oh, never,
Never.
Well,
never.
at CIA, Russell went to the Learning Center all the time and got his books on tape
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he really needed that. He needed to be able to do that.
That was a great resource.
And amazing. Jack's
Great
fabulous.
Learning Commons is a fantastic, it is a fantastic resource for our students, and it's widely used. I mean, I go up there and you see, it's even from anywhere from your lectures and those sort of academics, but also your kitchen labs. You see students up there practicing their right skills on potatoes and carrots. It's just an awesome experience to see these students really trying and putting their best foot forward, and our staff there is unbelievably supportive and fantastic and great, and so we're lucky to have that center.
And we were blessed to find all these
Yeah.
supportive places for Russell and Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really are. Really were. Continue to be. Well, thank you guys for coming on and talking with us. I think that I really do think that we would not be able to pull off what we do with the consistency that we do without having so many people in our corner, so many, different organizations that support us and that we have, real feeling for. It's not, these are not just arbitrary decisions that we've made on how to spend this money and carry Russell's name forward. We really have, it all fits together in such a perfect union. I think that it feels so good, in 360 degrees to be able to do this and talk about it and all that. So thank you guys for being so instrumental in that.
Well, thank you for inviting us, and nice meeting you, Brad.
You as well, Denise. Yeah, it's been an honor, you guys, honestly, for the many years that I've been going to the event and getting to meet you all. And I feel honored to be a part of it, and look forward to many more years of not only celebrating Russell's life, but seeing all the great things you do for the upcoming chefs at BCS and CCAP and CIA and everybody you help across the globe. We appreciate it. So.
Well,
Yes.
it makes us feel wonderful, I can tell you. It really, truly does. And great. I'm thrilled that you guys are here tonight. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Denise, when the
Absolutely.
restaurants are open, you have to come up with these guys and grab a meal.
Next time I'm in New York.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Be careful what you ask for, Brad. It might be a class trip coming your way. You never
Oh.
know.
Yeah, we always have we have a lot of class trips and the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all kinds of young budding chefs or just food enthusiasts.
Sounds
They like
good.
to eat.
We're signing off.
Yes.
Okay.
I am
Enjoy your
gonna,
Good night, everybody.
Good
Great to
night.
see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
and without further ado, I am going to play a video of an interview that my parents and I did earlier today with two of Russell's best friends, his friends Morgan and Jeff that he went to high school with at Birchwath and Lenox here in New York. And this was a lot of fun. It was great to be able to connect with them and talk with them specifically about Russell. So I'm going to play that now. And then I'll come back at the very end in about 20 minutes and do my sign off.
All right.
Okay.
But thank you guys for being here.
Okay,
All right.
bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Now that we're all here. Oh, did I do that properly? I don't know if I did. Okay. I'm a professional. I always think that it's so amazing that, over the last, it's crazy that it's been 18 years that Russell isn't with us anymore, but I always find that there are a lot of people that we know who have come into our circle who over the course of time have told us that they feel like they do know Russell because of the way that we talk about him and the way that we continue telling all those stories. And but it's always better to have people that actually did know Russell coming to talk to us. I feel like, the fact that we still keep our connection with you guys and that you guys stay connected with us has been really important and helpful to help keep Russell's name alive.
Yeah,
Jeff-
I mean, 18 years. Wow.
Crazy.
It's
So, Jeff,
crazy, especially.
do you still put flowers out?
I do every year. I think
Still.
there was one year last year, or this year. I think there was a struggle with. I was out here for the quarantine. There was one year. I think Jordan called me out on it. He's like, "Oh, nobody told me about flowers this year."
Right.
That was a couple of years ago. I think there was one year. I got a text from Jordan. He's like, "Dude, I didn't get the phone call from everybody."
Well, I just want
But
to.
I'll
we
make
love
sure to
that
keep
you
the
do that.
ritual alive, just like the charity event and the charity. I will keep that alive. I promise you that.
I know.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm living out here.
And you guys have been, and Jesse has been just wonderful year after year, always supporting us, always showing up, always being there to help. It's been great.
Well, aside from it being such a great way to honor Russell, it's also just such a wonderful cause and a way to keep paying it forward and keeping Russell connected to the future rising stars in the culinary world, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, very cool.
And like one thing I was thinking about, quarantine. I think we've all probably gotten more familiar with cooking for ourselves, especially being New Yorkers, where we're relying on delivery so much. But Russell had such a profound impact on me. Not just I knew he was more into baking, but whenever we'd come over to your apartment, Dorothy and David,
You have to try this. You have to try
Russell
this.
Russell was always such a generous host. Sometimes he would order in. I think you guys were probably flipping the bill for that, so thank you. But he was always on the grill. He always had obviously his famous chicken, but always seeing Russell coming up with ideas and being so passionate about cooking and working at Mesa Grill and even Frites Belige, that Belgian fry
Yes.
place. It always inspired me to be into cooking, and I think Jeff would attest that I'm not so bad. We cooked dinner together a couple weeks ago, but
I wasn't allowed to cook. Morgan cooked.
whenever I'm cooking, I often think of Russell because cooking has become such a calming and soothing kind of creative outlet for me. But it's also a connection point that I have with Russell that I find, really special.
Yeah, he always
Morgan
made,
has become a good cook.
hey, listen, that
Thanks, Jeff.
doesn't surprise me.
Well, we all talk to Russell.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all,
I mean,
especially when there's
I mean-
cooking or baking.
yeah. I mean, speaking in Mesa Grill, I remember when he was working there, and I remember at the time we were talking about like future plans, and we were talking about the restaurant that Russell was going to open, and I remember saying I get to eat free, right? And he's like, oh yeah, and I'm like, I get the best table. He's like, of course, absolutely. And I, often think about like, what would that restaurant empire look like today? and would I still be eating free? Of course. But out of all my friends, especially Jeff, I would say Russell was, if someone was destined for success and seeing a vision forward, it was Russell. So passionate and so talented, and so
It's
inspiring.
funny you should say that, because right after Russell died, when we went up to the CIA to collect his things, and we ended up talking to his class of students, and one of them said, I don't know how to say this. He said, but now we just don't know what we're going to do with our lives. We all knew that we would graduate and then we'll go out and get a job. And 2 years down the line, we'll call Russell.
Russell would hire us.
And we'd go work in one of Russell's restaurants.
Exactly.
It's so funny that I think it's very funny that that you ate for free at Mesa. That's I think one of the funnier things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was good at just, following Russell around and not paying for food or for much. Russell was always really good at just getting stuff for free. This little guy who larger than life would roll up to the nightclubs, talk. Not only did he talk, he walked the talk, and he got us in, and he got us free drinks and free tables, and was always the center of attention. And I often just kind of marveled.
Always free drinks. I don't know how he kept the jobs.
I can't believe this guy. This guy, he's got such. I guess my grandma, who just turned 100, she's got chutzpah. Chutzpah. That's how you say it. How do you say it, Jeff?
Chutzpah.
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 Russell
Yiddish.
definitely had chutzpah.
Yeah.
Definitely had chutzpah. A lot of balls.
But with charm.
Definitely chutzpah.
But with charm.
Oh yeah.
What amazed me was that Russell could do you in, and you knew it, and you'd still walk away smiling because he would just charm you near the end. And he
Very
did it
true.
to me as his father. I'm not just saying I've heard about it.
Often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something,
Yeah.
and you're doing me in, and he'd say, well, yeah, but, and in a certain way, he would massage you with words or a smile or some comment, diverting the attention to, you're really looking handsome tonight. I like that tie on you. In the middle of something more difficult. And before you know it, you're smiling and he's walked away with the company store.
Yeah, exactly. He knew exactly what he was doing. Always knew what he was doing.
I always
There
tell
was
these stories.
always a thought process.
Yeah, I always start a lot of these stories about talking about Russell, explaining that he got away with stuff that nobody else would even think to try to get away with. Like it's such next level. You tell those stories, people are like, that couldn't be real.
Yeah.
Very true.
A charming negotiator is definitely something that Russell was and highly skilled at, for sure.
But he was also a really good friend. I mean, he was a very devoted friend, and he was a good friend. If he was your friend, you didn't have to worry.
Oh yeah, he could also be
Never missed
like
anything.
an attack dog. If you cross Morgan, if you cross Jeff, Russell was right there, getting loud at someone or kind of being very passionate is how I like to think about it.
I think passionate's the right word.
Very full of
Passionate's the right
passion.
word.
Passion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Very passionate. I actually think of Russell a lot while I'm being a young father. And you know, I see my kid, and there's certain things where I just think about, like when I was a young man, like with Morgan and Russell, and how I would want to guide my son. And it's there's definitely a lot of influence when Russell's still involved and thinking about, you know, the life and the passion and everything that he brought to the table. I mean, me and Morgan have tattoos from it. Go figure.
We do. What? How do our tattoos? Oh, we all got tattoos together, right?
Obviously a memorable experience getting those tattoos.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Sure. Yeah.
Have you covered those up, I guess? Is that not that you don't?
Well, Russell wasn't in favor of tattoos, as I recall. I
No.
remember.
He was a witness too.
Yeah.
Not
But he didn't get
participant in.
Oh,
No,
that was
no,
the
no,
first
no.
one. Yeah.
Did he help you at least
But
haggle and
his
get a good
girlfriend
price?
freaked out.
Of course. Always get a good price with Russell.
He was a good
Well, I think
negotiator.
the tattoo that you're thinking about, Jeff, was I think we all we're on the Lower East Side, and we Russell didn't participate in the actual tattoo, but he was with us, I believe, when we wanted to get this is so stupid. We wanted Chinese letters tattooed on us.
Yeah, this was the first one.
because that's like that's like a super cool thing, you know, to have. Not really,
We thought.
but the
Wait, let me
tattoo
take this
place-
one over. All right, we ran into a Chinese restaurant and we were like, "Tell us what this means." And Morgan,
No.
everybody went for
No,
their own words.
You're messing.
I got it.
You
I
forgot
got
the first part. The first part was that the tattoo artist said, "I don't know how to write in Chinese." We said,
Right.
"Okay, there's a Chinese restaurant across the street."
So we
Go
ran
ahead.
across the street, and you know, we had a couple drinks in us, and we're like, "Oh, we want to say this X, Y, and Z," and we all picked different things, and then they just wrote it on a piece of paper. We go back across the street, and we get them tattooed on us. And we're walking out, and Russell's like, "Are you guys sure that's what it means?" Like, we had no confirmation, no check of anything, and he's like, "You know, does it mean lo mein? You know, order one spare ribs."
3 egg
does
rolls.
it actually mean, you know, destiny or whatever I thought I was getting? You know,
Yeah, but he's
but yeah, that was the first time around.
So you have 3 egg rolls tattooed on your ankle or something now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
those are crazy times. I mean, a lot of the stories, it just can't be said on TV, on Zoom. But
Oh, listen, not only can some of the good Russell stories not be told on Zoom, some of them can't be told to my parents because they still believe the story Russell and I told them 20 years ago.
Oh, right. Thank you very much. Okay.
There's only a couple
Yeah.
of those. I've come clean on a bunch of the funnier ones.
yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely left
I'm
an
sure.
imprint, without a doubt.
Yeah.
No, definitely left an imprint.
You know, I think it's interesting that that all those kids said that they were going to ultimately work for Russell. I think that's one of the things that we think about a lot is, you know, what kind of an empire would Russell have built by now, 18 years in, you know? I think it has helped. I mean, I'm not much of a chef. I feel like I'm good on the grill. I've maintained my grill capabilities. I've carried forward that, you know, the good chicken.
Yeah, the good chicken.
Oh yeah.
It's
I feel like
it's
it'd be
the, it's,
supper clubs, a chain of
it's
supper
the
clubs.
it's the soy vey marinade, right?
Jordan's being modest. He's become actually quite a good cook. He cooks lots of stuff besides chicken. and steak.
I've seen your grilling your COVID grilling on Instagram, and it looks phenomenal.
I'm the only one that doesn't cook, probably because I had you guys, you know, cooking for me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You need somebody to
No,
compliment the chef.
Jeff, you were always better at eating than cooking.
Oh,
buddy.
there it is, and there it is. Okay, I got it.
Each person has a role to play in this world. You know,
If I have to be the eater, I'm fine with it.
Me too.
I've played potted plant every now and then, so you know, eating's not bad.
What is potted plant? What is that?
A role to play.
Pot, I think he was talking
No.
about.
A quiet potted plant in the. What am I? A potted plant?
Oh, okay.
When people talk around.
I don't know if anybody's ever used that phrase ever, Dad.
Well, all right.
Holy kazoo.
You invented
that's an
it.
Old reference.
Like holy kazooie, right?
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
No,
That's not even old.
That's not so old. People still use holy mackerel, but David uses this expression holy kazooie, which was only used in the 50s. I don't think it was ever used after that.
1954.
That could only be used by someone who rides around on a Vespa.
Yeah. Well, I got to just say, you know, it really, with the three of us always talk about how much it warms our heart that we're not the only ones that go around telling Russell stories. If you can think of anything that might be appropriate for this format that you can share.
You know, that's the problem, appropriateness. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Propriety, appropriateness.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
I you know, there's so many stories that there are crazy stories, there are fun stories. You know, Russell, you know, I generally just, you know, I think if I kind of group a lot of it together, you know, Russell was always so caring, like you said, Dorothy, such a good friend, very, very generous, always making sure that everyone was feeling good and had what they needed. You know, I often remember spending a lot of time down at your apartment with Jordan and Russell, playing, you know, probably 12 hours straight of Bond. And thank you for
at
letting
least,
me.
at least.
Thank you
Dorothy,
for
you were
letting me just
great.
stay there, you know, for as long as I did. But Russell was always like, "What do you need? What do you want? What can I get for you?" And that's the type of person Russell was. You know, always thinking about, you know, about his friends and what people needed, and wanting to be, you know, a provider of that. And you know, it was such a special trait that I didn't really see in a lot of people at that time in my life. Just kind of a
He was
real
a very
genuine.
Still, it's a quality that a lot of people don't have. Certainly not in the same levels that Russell did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, more to what I was saying before, you know, you could go back and tell stories, but I think the real profound effect that somebody has on your life is not necessarily about the stories and experiences that you actually had, but the, you know, the ripple effect of them going forward and through the rest of your life. I mean, Russell and I met each other 5 years before his accident. We went hot and heavy, and 18 years later, like I said, I still think about him once in a while and what would Russell do, or how does that affect my life? And I think that's kind of like the outcome of the stories and the experiences, not stories, experiences together, you know. And I definitely think about him more than once a year, and a lot more. And it's really nice that you guys keep this going. But I can't stress enough that Russell is a part of I know I'm speaking for myself, and definitely Morgan is a big part of our lives still, and part of our hearts, and, you know, somebody that, you know, lives on through us. So
Well, I remember when he first started at Birch, you know, because if you remember when he first started, Russell was still very little for his age.
we remember.
Mhm.
Got us in a lot of trouble. Little man with a big mouth.
Little man
I
with
think that's
big-
a bit. David, you got him that
He'll
business
have that
card, didn't you?
card, but
That business card got us in trouble.
His business card that said "the little man with the big mouth." I'm pretty sure he bought that at like one of those machines that you type it up.
It was more than a business card. It was life.
It
Yeah, it's a calling card.
Yeah.
was a
It
calling
was.
card.
I,
Paladin, have a gun, we'll travel.
I went to all the basketball games, and of course Russell was on the basketball team because basketball was his passion. And I remember, I mean, he was so agile on the court, and
12 inches shorter than the next
so much
shortest
shorter
kid.
than everybody else that when he went off the court, the other team would clap for him. You
Oh,
know,
that's awesome.
He was so good at basketball that when he went to a Knicks game, he was just as good at splitting the defense and getting past security.
Yeah,
We have-
you know, it's funny. Like, I remember going to a Knicks game, he would take me, and everyone knew Russell. Everyone. And I was just like, and we're walking around everywhere. We're getting through all backstage, back of house, locker rooms. I was just like, who is this guy? Like, it's like, it was like Goodfellas, you know. It's like this little guy is walking around, and you know, like the Teamsters are like, hey Russell. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? It just, like, you know, that infectious nature that Russell had on everyone is is kind of, everyone just warmed up to him. And basically he could get whatever he wanted.
Yeah. I know Jeff went to a
Well,
lot of
Nick's people
also.
coming on in the
Right.
next interview, in
In the
fact.
next interview, we have two people who know him from the garden. One
Oh,
who
wow.
protected him, one who protected him whenever he was about to get in trouble. It was Betsy, who was the photographer at the Knicks. She told everybody that Russell was her cousin. Her cousin.
Well, a little man with a big mouth has a lot of
right.
people protecting them.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of people protecting them.
And the other person that is scheduled is a guy who's been the head concierge
At the VIP
at
desk.
the entrance where the VIP
The
entrance.
VIP.
Steve?
Madison Square
Steve?
Garden.
Yes, Steve, of course.
Dude, that guy loved Russell.
Love Russell.
I think he still works there, right?
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
He does.
He still
I
does.
see him once in a
To the
while.
extent that the
Tell him I say hello, because I'm going to need him again in the future.
All right, well, stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yes, he'll be on tomorrow, right? I guess.
Nah, he's a good man.
everybody-
That guy Steve is great. Always love Russell. Really solid guy.
Tomorrow, right, Jordan? Is
Yeah,
it
we're gonna
tomorrow?
have him on shortly. That video's coming.
He'll-
soon.
Stephen will be on tomorrow,
Yeah.
and Betsy, and some other folks. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, this has been
And Jeff will
fantastic.
be
you
on-
know.
Week afterwards, by the way, chefs that Russell worked for. So you'll see how real cooking was from his employer,
Right.
the head chefs of a couple of restaurants that he worked at.
And several of his friends who became chefs, who were still chefs.
Oh, right, and other
And
chefs
one being
of
his baking partner, and in typical Russell fashion, the woman who was his baking partner at the CIA was also the valedictorian of their class. So,
Oh, wow.
so only that Russell struggled academically because of his learning differences. So he
made sure to
You were gonna-
partner up with a woman who was going to be the
right
valedictorian.
the smartest.
if you're gonna cheat off the person sitting next to you, make sure you're sitting next to a smart person.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
There
Problem is, birds of a feather flock together.
you go.
She needed someone to speak up for her. It was a beautiful partnership, I think.
It was a great relationship.
Russell
yes.
provided the backbone for her to not be dealt unfairly with by some of the people there. And she helped him get through some of the tougher elements of testing, I guess.
No,
whatever it was.
because anytime they had to do any paperwork that was
Oh, the paperwork.
any
right,
of the
right.
paperwork that was affiliated with their projects, Carolyn could always do the paperwork, which Russell always had so much trouble with. So
Yeah.
Well, close to the end.
Well, it's so great to be able to talk to you guys and to share this time with you. And so thanks
Yeah,
for
it's
coming,
nice.
making the time to come
Thank
and
you.
talk with us.
Really
Thank you.
awesome.
thank you for always
Thank
being
you.
there for
Yeah,
us.
It's great
We
what
really-
you guys do. The cause is great. You know, the results are phenomenal, and you know, we're just happy to be, somehow tethered to it. It's really nice.
Auction's going to be up by next week, I reckon. Right, George?
Right, next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday. That'll be online.
Jordan, you get the
On
Levi's?
all the donations now, right? We
Yes,
still get-
just sent us everything. It's awesome.
Great. Thank you.
All right,
a
love
lot.
you guys.
love
Thank
you
you.
too. Mwah.
Love you
Mwah.
guys.
Love
Love
you
to Russell.
guys. Mwah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys all for sticking around. That second part of the interview was an interview my folks and I did with Morgan and Jeff earlier today, so it was pre-recorded. I can't thank them enough for coming on, and to Denise from VCS and Brad from the CIA. Thank you guys as well for always being in our corner. And I literally, can't tell you guys how much it means that other people are watching what we're doing here. Please keep checking our website, the russellferberfoundation.org. russellferberfoundation.org is where you can find all the stuff about what we do year round. You can donate year round. I just put the ticket links up for our live streaming comedy show, which is going to be on September 16th. And sometime over the weekend, I should be putting up the links for our silent auction, which will go live 1 week from tonight, next Wednesday on the 9th. As my dad said, we're going to be putting up some bonus interviews that are not going to be going out live, but that we will be putting up, including some interviews with some people from Madison Square Garden, and hopefully a couple of my comedian friends that can help lighten the mood a little bit as well. So thank you guys so much. I love you. And as always, thank you to Russell for making sure that this went better than I thought it was going to go. Huh? Huh? We did pretty good, I think. I'm pretty sure we did. Good night, everybody.